Ever since Los Angeles prosecutors dropped a 9-page legal brief detailing the supposed evidence against the singer David, real name David Anthony Burke, we have been poring over this document, hoping to figure out just what happened before he allegedly killed his underage girlfriend, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. And we have been able to piece together a timeline of events that may shed some light on what transpired. And I want to start here. January 2022, okay? The brief claims that David met Celeste. This is the first time when she was just 11 years old. There's no details, though, about how they met. But then you go to November of 2023. That's when the relationship allegedly turned sexual, when she was just 13 years old. There's no details in the brief on why prosecutors reached that conclusion. But remember, they claim they're in possession of child sexual abuse material of Celeste, namely photos. So is that going to be proof of the timeline? And remember, this all goes to the sex crime charge that he faces and the motive for the alleged murder. February 2024, okay? Celeste is reported missing. We found out the Riverside County Sheriff's Department investigated this. They called David about her disappearance because apparently his number was in her call logs. He allegedly told the sheriffs that he didn't know that she was missing, didn't know that she was a minor. LAPD shows it at his home. They ask him questions. They interviewed him. And he said he only met her once in November of 2023. Now we go to April. This is a key month. We start April 22nd, 2025. David and Celeste apparently fight. This is after what the brief says, that Celeste and David had taken trips to Vegas and Texas and London. And during this alleged fight, Celeste had threatened to disclose damaging information about David in the hopes of hurting his career. Again, motive. Again, special circumstances allegations that could raise this to life in prison without the possibility of parole, even the death penalty. April 23rd, 2025, key date. That's when prosecutors claim that Celeste died. No more cell phone activity from her after that night. 8:40 p.m., the brief claims David Ubered her from her home in Lake Elsinore, miles and miles away, to his mansion in the Hollywood Hills. 10:10 p.m., he allegedly stabbed her multiple times, kills her. 20 minutes later, 10:30 p.m., he allegedly sends texts to her phone to cover his tracks. So think about, again, that short window. We're going to talk about that. 11:30 p.m., he allegedly left in his Tesla and drove north to Santa Barbara County. April 24th, the next day, David returns from Santa Barbara, goes on a radio show, allegedly orders a shovel that he receives the same day. And now that brings us to the final piece of this puzzle. May 1st, 2025, David allegedly buys 2 chainsaws under the name Victoria Mendez. Prosecutors claim a chainsaw was used to dismember her body. Also apparently bought body bags, laundry bags, a blue inflatable pool. July 29th, 2025. Prosecutors claim David drives the Tesla for the last time. This is after he allegedly ordered a burn cage, a body bag to his home, used the same pseudonym, Victoria Mendez. Also, after he allegedly took more trips to Santa Barbara. And then we go to September 8th, 2025. Everybody knows this date. That is when Celeste's body, dismembered, decomposed, found in the trunk of a car, the Tesla allegedly registered to David. Now, this was a Tesla that was taken to a tow yard where the manager smelled this decomposition, called LAPD. Celeste's body was found. Again, I hate to say this, but I have to. Body bag contained her head, torso, garbage bag contained her limbs. Now, we all know how the rest of this goes, right? David sat under a cloud of suspicion for months, all while prosecutors were building their case. And then last month, the LAPD stormed the home that he had allegedly been hiding out in, arrested him on all of these charges, including first-degree murder. He has pled not guilty to all the charges. He is innocent until proven guilty. But you may say, after everything I just laid out, seems like an open and shut case, right? Not according to missing persons private investigator Steve Fischer, who's been on this case from the very beginning. He has another theory about where and when Celeste was killed. Joins us now live. Steve, good to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time. So you think there might be a dispute as to where she was killed and how?
Well, I'm just opening up the question just because some of the timeline events, we don't see, they reference him stabbing her to death and watching her bleed out, but we can't find this, the crime scene in the house, to be honest with you. So I'm not suggesting that he's not the one that killed her, by the way. I'm just wondering if maybe the sequence of events could be a little different, and maybe he lured her to his house with the expectations of going to Santa Barbara, and it possibly happened there. And
well,
but
the
again,
reason you think that is because of the 20 minutes. So allegedly she comes over and within 20 minutes allegedly kills her and then decides, I'm going to go to Santa Barbara. You say there might be some issue there with how quickly that sequence of events might have been, and also the "Where are you" texts, right?
Yeah, so I think that it's a very quick sequence of events, but I also think that "Where are you" could be real. I think that they say they were arguing on the way during the Uber ride, and then if she arrives and they get in a fight right away, maybe she leaves the house and he truly is looking for her, and then gets in the car and is texting her, "Where are you?" And then there's only one street to go down the hill, and then finds her, and then maybe they go to Santa Barbara. Something happens there. It's just, because we can't find this crime scene. And also during the search warrant, we did not see the bio teams there. We didn't see the TEVEC suits. We didn't see a crime scene, established. We saw them taking electronics out.
If that's the case, and he allegedly did this in Santa Barbara, why is that a specific location, a key location to maybe commit a crime and hide evidence? Is there some body, is the territory there, is the environment there, something that would help him to cover his tracks, allegedly?
Yeah, honestly, I have no idea. We never had any evidence of Santa Barbara. We've talked about that before. I did go there. I will say that I went and spent some time there a few days ago and looked at the area. It is remote, but it's also, you're going through very wealthy areas. It's really perplexing. I don't understand why he went 3 times.
So let me ask you this. You've been very clear, you're not saying that this evidence points to someone else. You've also said prosecutors, we don't know how much evidence they have. We're not even at a preliminary hearing stage. They don't even have to present all of the evidence they have at a preliminary hearing, just enough to establish probable cause, enough to say, hey, we got enough to move this forward to trial. But if this is the case, and you're saying it's possible, maybe this happened in Santa Barbara, doesn't this flip the whole script on prosecutors? Isn't this potentially a sign of a weakness in their case?
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it could be, but this is a circumstantial case. That's, I don't think there's any video evidence or anything like that. So it could be, but these are just questions they're asking, because there should be evidence still of that scene. Listen, that garage, if it happened in that garage, and keep in mind, they didn't order that pool until, May. But I mean, if it happened in this garage, that is like 15-foot ceilings. It's 2 stories high, that garage. To clean that up would be a mammoth.
And there was no evidence of like cleaning supplies bought or anything like that.
No, there wasn't. And we don't see luminol traces. We don't see crime scene markers. Definitely no bio evidence. We don't see them processing it as a bio evidence scene. Well, there's helicopter footage of the search warrant being executed.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I understand that it raises an interesting question about it. Look, I think at the end of the day, though, like you said, we still don't know all the evidence they may have or may not have about this. And look, I will just say Harvey Levin made a really interesting point. There's a part in the brief where they also say that he killed her and watched her bleed out. Like, how would they know that unless there's some piece of evidence to suggest that? We have about 30 seconds.
See, and that's the whole thing. How do they know that unless there's some evidence? And if they do have that evidence, why did it take 7 months to get to an arrest? And if she did watch her bleed out, where is the evidence of that crime scene in the house? We can't find any of those. Yeah. But if they have that evidence, that's fantastic. Why did it take 7 months to charge him?
All right. Well, we got this preliminary hearing coming up at the end of end of this month if it sticks. So we'll see. Steve Fischer, always appreciate you. Thanks for coming up.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.